Good morning. Time to wake up with coffee and stretches with Doc. Yeah. I got a jingle, y'all. I just came up with it right now. So I was like, heck yeah, I'm throwing in a jingle for the show. But anyways, host here, Andy Doc Melder, coming to you live here from Katy, Texas, owner and operator of Greenside Total Wellness. And y'all can check that out, greensidetw.com. Soft launch website, starting to build the business, and everybody that I know gets to follow along. So pretty cool. Today, we're going to talk about a few things. One of the things that y'all will hear me talk about a lot is quality of life. There's a really good reason for that. And I don't want to spoil another episode for another day. But, you know, when it comes to how insurance companies and the government ultimately, because you're going to be on Medicare someday, look at your life and start making decisions about where you should be for your healthcare needs. They look at how you can respond to the world around you, basically the quality of life that you can live, and you know, whether you can meet the requirements to like feed yourself, bathe yourself, take care of yourself, and not be a danger or a risk for living by yourself or without assistance. So something everybody's gonna have to face. It's like kind of a macabre topic this morning, but it's just part of reality. Is we're all gonna get old, and when we get old, we need to understand what that looks like. So quality of life is one of these things that we're going to keep talking about, because longevity being the goal for me and hopefully for you and that's what wellness is about, like living as many good days as possible, right? So when you look at things in those terms, flexibility and balance are extremely important. And not to knock anybody or what they're doing, but we've gotten into a culture where strength is a really valued asset. So people are engaging in like physical activities that are reminiscent to me of like pro athlete workouts and stuff we used to do in the military, that are designed, yeah, sure, they get you stronger and they build your body, but they're not a long-term solution, because ultimately, you know, lifting big heavy weights and putting extreme pressures on your body is what kills your joints, what starts affecting your spinal cord and all kinds of stuff. And there's some people that are built for it, that can just do it for a long time, and I don't want to discourage anybody from working out and trying to get fit, but the benefits of being the best at exercising are not necessarily going to carry you all the way through the end. Now, strength is really important, because having strength to do things is really important, but without flexibility and balance to offset that strength, then sometimes what happens is actually can be a detriment to the human body. And so I'm just throwing that out there, because we're really obsessed about looking good and being in shape right now. But wellness is about the long run, about what we can do to keep ourselves going for a long time. So with that being said, longevity to me is important, and flexibility and balance are a good factor of that. And let me tell you why. We talked a little bit about last week during the stretching portion, when I was doing like stretches where we were reaching across like this and stretching the body, and I was kind of using the reference like being at the grocery store and, you know, reaching across to grab something, or being at home and getting something off the counter, or being even just sitting in a chair and reaching over to grab the remote, or things like that. These are things that ultimately, when you start getting old, are going to be really important. Reaching and grabbing being, you know, one of those things. Flexibility and balance, it goes along with that. You have to be flexible to reach. The other part of it is keeping yourself on your feet. Okay, as you get older, one of the most common injuries and most common ways for somebody to end up in a assisted living or nursing care facility is to have a slip fall. And if you slip and fall, or you lose your balance and fall at the age of 80, is a much different scenario than if you slip and fall at the age of 20. So when you break a hip, at some point in time, they're going to say you're too old for surgery. At some point in time, they're going to say you're just going to have to do rehabilitation for it. And that is the common sign of what is to come for a patient, because once they go down that process, they'll never be able to get their hip rehabilitated right. I won't say never, but it's a possibility. And then if they can't do that, then they're going to enter a nursing home. And just to throw one little statistic out there for you, within 1 year of entering a nursing home, 65% of patients will die. So entering a nursing home is really just a step away from hospice. And I'm not knocking them, they're there for a reason. Some people don't have other options, but one of my goals in life is to change how we take care of people in their end of days. But that's a different topic. But keeping yourself healthy and keeping yourself on your feet is really, really important. So balance, of course, is going to be a huge part of that. Maintaining a healthy weight and all these different things are important for that as well. But when you're talking about that longevity, quality of life we were speaking of, balance is huge. Neurologically, it's an expression of good health. So when neurologists examine patients, a lot of times what they examine is their balance. They like to watch them walk and see how they walk, and they check out what's called their gait, right? And using their observations of how people walk and how they maintain their balance is also an expression of how they're mentally, neurologically functioning. So that's something to keep in mind too. Balance is going to help tie all your systems together, your mind and your body. Your big toe creates a lot of the balance for standing and walking and doing all these different things. It's attached all the way up into your mind. So think about that. So from your head to your toe, balance is really helping keep these systems in place. And it will help keep you living independently for as long as possible. Another big part of it is with flexibility, you're going to have a lot of less pain in your life. Okay, as your muscles start to atrophy, as your joints start to decay, and your balance starts to go, that's going to create a lot of pain. Also, once again, falling, when you fall, that's painful. Having surgery and things like that, that's also painful. So preventing injury is a really big part of it. And then ambulatory issues, as somebody that has them sometimes with my foot problems, using a cane, and I have to use a cane, and I haven't had to use one in a while, thank God. Using a cane sucks. While it's necessary, if you need to use one, by all means. Use the tools around you to help yourself. But if you can prevent yourself to getting to that point using a walker and using a cane, those things are not fun. They're a definite impedance to your lifestyle, like just trying to get out of the car and get in and out of the car, and things that tend to get a little frustrating at some point. So that's about that. Just think about that and what that means to you in your life. How are you helping create flexibility? How are you helping to create some balance in the goals in terms of longevity and quality of life? So, yep. What y'all drinking this morning? I'm back to the Texas pecan. As I told you, it's my favorite. We're gonna go ahead and start some stretches. So this one, we're gonna continue an upper body regimen. We're not even getting into the lower body yet. I gotta save that for later episodes. Okay, we're gonna start off with something I just call them chest circles. All right, this is kind of like the adult version of the modern arm circles you did back in the day. This is gonna help warm up those rotator cuffs like we talked about the first time. And all you're gonna simply do is just kind of make circles around your chest, and then also you're gonna be kind of rotating your elbows at the same time. So you can see that. You can go real slow. Like I said, these motions are meant to be slow. If you meet any resistance or pain, you know, don't push through that. Just kind of work with it. You know, if I have to make smaller circles to make it work, then I make it work that way. If I'm not, and I really want a good stretch, then, oh man, we can reach back almost like we're yawning, and we can even open up those circles bigger and go back the other way. But this is easy because you don't have to hold your arms out, and you can still get that motion. So this is kind of really nice and gentle and easy. All right, and then we are going to do a little more twisting, going in that same thing of flexibility and movement and range of motion and being able to reach and grab. I love twisting exercises. It also helps cross your midline. So I'm coming across. So one of the stretches I do is I just reach back like this. Reach forward with the front arm and then the back arm. I'm just reaching back. And it's nothing too extreme. Don't twist too hard. You don't want to injure yourself, all right? And we could just do this. If you want to add in elements of Tai Chi, and I'm no Tai Chi master or anything like that, but I've learned a couple of things, you can add the tapping. And this is actually going to help with detox functions. You got your liver here and your kidneys back here, so you can kind of tap them, and you can help them kind of squeeze their stuffs out. Create a little vibrations inside your body as well, which helps shake up your interstitial tissues and fluids, I mean. So there you go. And then you can also come across here and work your shoulders with some tapping. And you know, all that stress and cortisol that gets stored right back here in your trapezius and shoulders and back, you can kind of tap on those and help squeeze some of that stuff out. All right, and you can do that as long as you need until you get nice and loose and feel really great. And then I'm gonna do one more stretch today. And I think this is one of the most important stretches anybody can do before we start getting into the lower body, before we start doing those deep bends and things like that. I always like to start with a back stretch that looks something like this. You're just putting your hands down here on your knees bent just a little bit. Yes, yep. And what I'm focusing on is actually just making my spine as long as possible, and then I'm going to stretch my neck. So I put my hands here, and I can use those as leverage to push. And you can really start to feel, I mean, honestly, every time I do that, I'll feel my back just kind of crack and get a nice little chiropractic readjustment on my own, with just my own movement. And then from there, we can go down into a deeper bend, but I like to live here just for a while. Take really nice, big, deep, long breaths so you get those big stretching of your ribs, intercostal tissues, and your spine. So when you take those big breaths. And anyways, those are my 3 stretches for today. I really appreciate y'all joining me and having some coffee and stretches with Doc. Thank y'all. Namaste. Have a great day.